Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to the Practical Life. I hope your Sunday is going well. Good afternoon, y'all. It is a rainy mess where I am. Okay, it's been raining all day, and it's kind of cold today too. I'm surprised, but I'm sure it'll warm up later on today or during the week. So, y'all, I wanted to come and give my opinion and really kind of gives a little bit, I guess, of advice for new professionals. Um, of course, everybody has been a new professional before, no matter what occupation you're in. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me well. But just wanted to come and give some advice because, as you all know, I've provided my opinion and commentary related to a lot of YouTube mommies. One of the YouTube mommies that I haven't provided commentary on is Keeshakaylee, and honestly, I don't care to. Um, it's a lot of intricacies when it comes to keeshakaylee, so I really don't care to provide commentary on her life or what have you. Um, but I did, of course, I've been seeing a lot of what has been going on, and one of the most recent ones things that have been going on was that she went to court with another YouTuber, and that didn't really interest me either until I did see a video by another YouTuber that I believe is, and again, this video is just based on my opinion, y'all. Um, One of my specialties in my mental health practice is career advice. So I do like a lot of career coaching. I work with a lot of individuals who are trying to manage their mental health in the workplace. And so career coaching is one of my other passions as well, especially when it comes to Black women, because I have had the experience, and a lot of clients and people that I know have had the experience of really struggling in the workplace when it comes to advancing their career. And so I thought it'd be fitting to really kind of give my opinion on a video that I saw. I won't name the video or anything like that because my opinion is really not for that particular person per se, but just in general because I think it's a learning lesson for all of us. Of course, I saw the outcome of keeshakaylee and Toya Talk going to court and things like that. And of course, everyone is going to have their opinion about what went on, what the outcome was. Um, and I didn't even see the court proceeding, right? I didn't see it. I wasn't looking for it or anything like that. But again, I did hear commentary from another professional on YouTube. And some of the things that she was saying was kind of alarming when it comes to, because I believe she may be a new professional. And so I'm going to kind of give some tips or do's and don'ts for new professionals. Now, you could take this advice as you may with a grain of salt, child. People do whatever they want to do in the workplace. Some things will cause you to, will hinder you from advancing your career. And some of them, you might be in a certain workplace where it is that will enable your behavior, right? Whether that be for good or for bad. So take it as you may. This is just my opinion again. So when I talk about, let's get into it. So when I say new professional, I mean anyone that's in a professional field, such as, it could be mental health, anyone that's licensed, lawyers, doctors, really any occupation, honestly, right? But a new professional, in my opinion, is someone that has not been practicing in whatever field that they're in, if they've been practicing less than 5 years. Right? Because you got to think about it. When you are in school, a lot of professionals go, a lot of people go get their bachelor's. Right after the bachelor's, they go get their master's. And I'll be transparent, I'll speak for myself, right? I earned my bachelor's. Right after my bachelor's, I earned my master's. Right after my master's, I stopped school a little bit, went back, got another master's, right? And so I would probably consider myself, a lot of people would consider me a professional student, but you have a lot of people that go that route because depending on the profession, that's the route that you go, right? You get your bachelor's, you go to law school, you get your bachelor's, you go to medical school. You see what I'm saying? And so throughout that time, though, you are in learning mode. Right, you're not really, and I mean, doctors, right? They go through a residency, they see patients and things like that, but someone is overseeing their work, right? So you are in, you're very green, you're very new in your profession. Even though you have your degree, even though you may have your license, there are so many things that you don't know about your profession because you have not had enough time to put what you have learned into practice, if that makes any sense, right? You have been given examples. You may have done a lot of mock things in the classroom, in the classroom setting of maybe if the client says this, you would say this, or how would you handle this? A lot of examples, a lot of teachings, but you have not actually had a lot of experience of actually being with the client and understanding their specific situation because every situation is different. Everybody's different. Everybody responds and reacts to things differently, right? Um, and so anyone that has been practicing any profession less than 5 years, you are a newbie. You are a newbie, honey. And let me know in the chat if y'all agree with what I'm saying, right? But again, this is just my opinion. But you are a newbie. You're very green. And one of the things, in my opinion, you shouldn't do, and I'm saying this too because a lot of the people that I work with, they do this, and it gets them, I don't want to say in trouble every time, but after a while, it starts to affect their mental health. And I'll get into that in a minute, but you're green. So one of the things that I recommend is that you don't assume you know more than anyone when you are a newbie, right? Because you're going to be around other professionals. Like you're of course it's respect for your colleagues, whether they have been practicing 2 years, 3 years, or 30 years, right? But if you're in the same profession, in my opinion, you can't assume that y'all on the same level because you're in the same profession. Because they have more experience than you do, right? So don't you should not go in. And this again also depends on what your career goals are. Now, if you went into the profession, you say, okay, I'm just gonna give me a job in the profession. I went to school all this time. I'm gonna find me a job in my profession. Once I do that, I'm good. I don't really want to, for example, make partner, or I don't really want to be a psychologist. I don't want to go to medical school or anything like that. I'm just looking for a job, pay my student loans back, pay my bills, things like that, right? And you don't really have a desire to be promoted wherever you are, then this might not apply to you. But the video that I saw was someone that um, appears to be very intelligent, very driven, very ambitious. So I can only speculate that they would want to um, get to the highest level when it comes to their profession, right? That's what it appears to be to me, right? But when you're a newbie, you can't go into it as thinking that you know everything and sometimes that's because you just got out of school, you're really new. To be honest, a lot of the people that have been in their profession for a long time, they are not abreast of all of the new policies and procedures, right? They may learn those things through their work, but they're not searching for those things on their own. It's just not a part of their regular day or after work. They will learn what they need to learn as far as policies and procedures at work, but outside of work, they do other things. You know what I'm saying? So it could be that it appears that the attitude is I know it all because you're new and you just got out of school, you just learned all these new things and all of this stuff. But you cannot, even if you feel like that, especially as a Black professional, you cannot, again, depending on your career goals, cannot go into your profession with the attitude of thinking that you know it all. And you have to be aware, you got to be aware of that, because now it doesn't mean that this person could be, they might act cocky or act like, I know what I'm talking about, right? But that doesn't mean that they have a lot of confidence either, right? In my experience, especially with mental health, people that feel like they have all the answers or know it all, they struggle with self-esteem issues because they are trying to prove that they are smarter than other people. And that could be because of whatever happened in their life, right? It's something that they're dealing with, things like that. There are certain reasons that people go into certain professions, and sometimes it's based on whatever life experience that they have had, things like that, right? So beware of the know-it-all. Now, number two, again, when you are a newbie, your job is to you're practicing your work with your clients, right? But your job, the main job, is to gather information. You're in the information gathering stage, right? Because not only are you working with clients, but whatever company or organization that you're working for, you've got to also learn their culture because you're new. And a lot of times it's going to take up to 3, 4, 5 years to really sink into that culture, to really know the way that you can react and respond to certain things that happen in your organization. I always say if you get to the point where you're manager or whomever is overseeing your work, right, or kind of guiding you in this new stage, when you get to the point where they're maybe asking you to mentor someone or to show someone else that's coming in to show them the ropes, you may now have a little bit of leeway to bring out a little bit of that, okay, I know what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying? So, but you are in the information gathering stage because you are now gaining that practical experience of actually working with actual clients. Because every situation is different, right? I know for me, in my master's program, I worked at a hotline. I had, we had like a counseling program, a counseling clinic in our school. We saw clients there. And it was nothing like when I got my first client outside of that classroom, right? Because like you're on your own. So, and this could have been a year in, right? Shoot, sometimes even now, depending on the situation, you can ask any therapist this. Depending on the situation, especially if it's not your specialty, and things like that, you may get a little bit I don't want to say nervous, but you want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's and know what you're doing when you're working with a client with a specific issue, right? So, say for example, if someone is has a specialty working with adolescents, and then they start to work for a new company, and whomever is scheduling clients and things like that, they only schedule you with clients that are or geriatric clients, right, or the elderly. Then you're going to be a little stunned a little bit because you've never really worked with that particular population. That's not your specialty in particular. So, and this could be someone that has been in the field for 15 years. So I know doggone well somebody that has been practicing less than 5 years, you have to again be in that information gathering stage, not just of your the practices of your profession, but also the culture of your work environment, because that matters as well, right? Now, the third thing is to, and everybody has heard this, right? Make sure and understand that your attitude determines your aptitude, right? Now, in the beginning, it's hard to kind of take everything in when you're a new professional. It's so many things going on. Again, you're getting used to your work environment. You're getting used to working with different clients. You're getting used to, whatever you do during the day for your particular profession. You are kind of getting used to all of those things and the routine of how everything goes, right? And you forget some of those basic principles that you need to kind of keep you going and get you forward, right? Because you never know who's listening, you never know who's watching. And most importantly, if you don't own the practice, right? If you are not the owner, the creator of that practice, you don't know the future of that organization, right? So your attitude is going to determine your aptitude. And I hope y'all get what I'm saying, right? You have to remember that your reasons for entering in that profession are not the reasons for everybody else. This brings me back to Raisa Kenge, the woman who allegedly unalived her boss. It was her manager, her landlord, or the property manager or something like that, and injured another person that was at the job she was working for. And I believe, yeah, Miss Raisa she was an accountant. Was it, y'all? Remind me. I think she was an accountant. And this reminds me of her because Raisa, based on the information that we saw on the internet and the information from news sources and things like that, it appeared that Raisa was very she was new in her profession, but she also exhausted herself with her work. It appeared that that was really all that she had to kind of it appeared that that's what she was thinking about all the time. Any additional activities outside of work, it had to do with her work or with her profession, right? And it appeared to me, based on Raisa's story, that she felt a type of way about her profession that maybe other people, they didn't have those same thoughts, because in the sense of, you know we all went to school. We know how it's supposed to go. These are the facts, right? These are our ethical principles and things like that. And when you are new, you tend to, of course, you rely on those things. It's what's most important to you. It's part of the reason you have a passion for that particular profession. But some professionals that's been in that profession for 20 years, girl, they ain't thinking about that. I mean, they know what it is, but some people, and it's wrong, right? It may be wrong in some people's eyes, but on an everyday basis, the majority of people want to do their work and go home. They just want to do their work and go home. And nobody is exempt from making mistakes in their profession. I've had clients that have been doctors, that have been nurses, doctors with specific specialties, and they'll come and say certain things like they be tired of them patients. They don't. A lot of them, they have so many patients and clients and things like that. It's affecting their mental health. They become so overwhelmed, and it's kind of like all of that other stuff is pushed to the side, because at some point you have to make sure that you're okay mentally when it comes to your profession. A lot of newbies, sometimes they put that above themselves, and that's how you become burnt out. And then you're going to be looking for another organization to work for. You're going to be trying to figure out how you're going to have your own practice, and things like that, because everybody is not going to think the way that you think. And that's okay. But you have to be okay with that. You have to accept that. And sometimes when you are a person that is very ambitious, very driven, hasn't really had a hard time when it comes to your profession, never really been told no, almost like the attitude of if I work hard, I'm going to get it. Sometimes that's not the case, especially for Black professionals, y'all. And please let me know if y'all understand what I'm saying. You can work 80 times harder, and that don't mean that you're going to get it. That doesn't mean that you're going to be in the place that you want to be because of just certain things. It could be because you're Black, or it could be just that you wasn't the person that they wanted. And if you've never been told no like that as far as your profession, or you've never had any challenges, you've never really had to, I don't want to say have to work hard, but you've never really had any losses, you've never really experienced that, right? To use those coping skills to get over it, then you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time, right? Now, the fourth thing is this. And I see a lot of new professionals getting hung up on this. And I'll be honest, at one time when I was a new professional, I didn't really get hung up on it, but I could see how people would. Now, this is this. The school that you go to doesn't determine your career path. Now, that might matter 2 months, 3 months, maybe up to 6 months after you then graduated. But girl, after you 5, 10 years in the profession, 15 years, I mean, somebody might ask you what school you went to, and they might say, oh, they might be an alumni, they might be an alumni, their kid might be going there now, whatever, but that's the extent of it. Nobody cares what school you went to. Half of these jobs, when you get now again, I don't know about certain professions and things like that, but I've worked with a lot of clients. I work with a lot of people, right, in these specific professions. And when you go to these jobs, a lot of them, they're not even about to ask you for your degree. They're not about to even ask you for that. They might ask you for your license. They want to know that you're licensed, and they're going to check. But they're not getting ready to ask you what school you went to because they don't care. All they want to know is that you are licensed to practice. That's all. I don't care if you went to 1, 2, 3 college. If you went to 1, 2, 3 college, they were accredited, and you earned your degree, and you went and took that test and you passed. That's all we need to know. Give me that license. Give me your license number so I can go in there and check that you active. Give me your license number so I can go on that site on that state site and check that you active and that you don't have any grievances on there from anyone. That's what they want to know. They don't care what school you went to. For what? It's plenty of schools. It's plenty of schools. And I told y'all before, there's a lot of people out here practicing certain stuff that ain't been to nobody's school. So all of the other stuff is what really matters, right? The fifth thing is this. I think that I don't really know, okay, whether you're on social media or not, I think that it's important that when you're presenting information that you are sure and of course maybe knowledgeable of, you have to consider your audience, right? Because the way that you present the information is going to be different from one audience to the next. So when you talk about social media, right, you are presenting, really, if you're a professional, in my opinion, you're presenting to laypersons. They don't know the ins and outs of your profession. Some of them might, because they might be in the same profession. But the majority of people, people subscribe to you for certain reasons or whatever. You've never met these people. You don't know what profession they're in. You don't know if they're licensed professionals. You don't know if they're doctors or whatever, right? So you have to consider your audience. And in my opinion, I feel like when you're a professional and you really don't know who your audience is, then you have to be cautious of speaking in a matter of fact fashion, especially if you are not in the same state as that person. You may only know the laws for the state that you're in. You have to be cautious of that, because people will find a loophole. They'll find a loophole and they'll say, well, you said, but that may not apply to their specific state. So I feel like either that should be said, or we should be cautious of speaking matter of factly, because you really don't know, because you don't know these people, right? Unless you are a client in front of me providing information to me, and I'm seeing you virtually or face to face, I can only take what you tell me with a grain of salt, and I can speculate and assume and things like that if we're over the internet. But I think we have to really be cautious of being matter of fact when it comes to certain things. What else? And okay, another thing, and this kind of goes back to Raisa Kinge too, right? Um, I urge any Black professional to not exhaust themselves in their profession, because 9 times out of 10, you are going to regret it later, right? You find yourself doing all this work, and it doesn't have to be, you may be doing it unknowingly. You may not feel like you're trying to prove yourself, but unknowingly you are. You are trying to prove yourself to certain people. You are working harder. You are trying to be innovative. You're trying to, you may stay uh, later hours. So, people, certain people at your organization can say, oh yeah, you really want to, you want to be here. You're passionate about the organization and things like that, right? Until you get to the point where it's time to come up for a promotion, or time to just make a different move and things like that, right? You have been doing all of that and you may not get chosen. So now, so now you've taken time away from yourself. You've taken time away from your family. You've given up all this energy for a company that just decided and doesn't really have to give you a reason. And that's what really kind of will grind your gears, right? They don't really have to give you a reason about why you were not chosen. So you're left with questions and then wondering what you did or didn't do. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So don't try to be, the lead person of your profession. Don't try to be, it's okay to say that you don't know. It's okay to say, okay, this is what I know. That's not my specialty, right? Things may be different, and things are different in different states, things like that. Because again, especially with being on social media, you never know who's listening. You never know who's watching. When you do get to that point where you want to get promoted, or say, for example, you might relocate to a different state. Life happens. Things happen in life. You say, oh, I never thought I'd be living in whatever state it is or whatever country, right? But you never know who might be there too. You never know who might be watching you now. And then when you get to the point where you're going up for that promotion or trying to do something different, you don't know who's going to be sitting at that table. And they're going to remember, or it could be somebody that they know. They could be friends with that person. They could be colleagues with that person. You never know. They're going to remember that you said this, and this about their colleague. and they're not going to appreciate it. And guess what? You're not going to get to where you're trying to be. So I think we have to be cautious. You can, of course, everybody has an opinion, right? Right? But it's a time and a place. And sometimes as a new professional, you're so green and gung-ho about letting everybody know that you know what you're doing that you kind of get beside yourself, right? And you got to understand that you don't have to do that, because sis, we know you know what you're doing. You look at what you've been through. Look what you're going through. You passed, the bar exam and things like that. Like, we know you know what you're doing. You present yourself well. You know how to articulate yourself in a suitable manner and things like that. So you don't have to prove that to anybody, right? So I encourage everybody to kind of think about that. Um, the biggest thing too, and I've said this before, is that when you're a new professional, I really, even shoot, not even, you could be uh mid-level professional child, but you need to get you a mentor. You have got to have a mentor within your profession, because, and a good one at that. And hopefully, everyone has the discernment to know if you have a good mentor or not. A good mentor is just not going to validate what you're saying. They're not going to just agree with everything that you say. They're going to call you on your ish. And they're going to say, now, wait a minute. Of course, this is A, B, and C, but did you think about 1, 2, 3? Because again, your profession is your profession, but there are also other things that go along with being a great professional, right? You've got to know how to talk to people. You've got to have people skills. You've got to know what to say, when to say it. Again, you've got to consider your audience when you're saying things. You've got to know how to handle conflict. It's a lot of other practical things that need to be considered when you're a professional. Not just, okay, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a licensed therapist, I'm a nurse, you're going to respect me as such. It don't work like that. It don't work like that, right? So I thought it was important to come and kind of talk about that a little bit. Like I said, I don't care to get into a Keisha Kaylee story or anything like that, child. That is a lot. I really don't care to do that. But like I said, one of my specialties is career coaching. And I've seen it time and time again, clients that are in that particular space. And after a while, they get burnt out and they want to do something totally different from their profession. And so, I urge any professional, or especially the video that I saw, to really kind of take those tips. This is not a debate or anything like that. This is just simply my opinion, based on what I've seen in my practice. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate you all. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful week. Make sure y'all write those goals down for the week. And that you get those goals, meet those goals. Make sure you write down your objectives of what you want to get done. I know Thanksgiving is this week. Y'all will see me before Thanksgiving. I hope, y'all, because I got a lot going on. But yeah, I hope you all are preparing well for Thanksgiving. And I also want to say this. I made a live a while back regarding seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder, y'all. And during this time of year, it's easy for a lot of people, right, to get into the holiday spirit, to be excited about Christmas and Thanksgiving and cooking and all of this stuff. But I think it's important for us, to remember that a lot of people are having a difficult time right now. And A lot of people are dealing with death anniversaries. A lot of people are dealing with recent deaths in their family, and for friends and things like that. And it's not easy for them to get excited and celebrate. So please be mindful of that. When you're speaking to others, and just have a wonderful holiday season, but also keep other people that are not having a so wonderful holiday season in your thoughts and prayers. I think that's important. But again, thank you all for listening. I appreciate you all. Make sure y'all like, comment, and mostly subscribe. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye.